Hey, what is up, everybody? Night of Champions has just went off the air. And holy cow, guys, what a good show this was. I wasn't expecting much going into it, but I was thoroughly impressed throughout the whole pay-per-view. And I gotta say, I liked what I saw with most of the matches. A few of the matches I was kind of questioning the outcome, but we'll get to all of that. Let's talk about the pre-show real quick. We had a battle royal to declare the number one contender for the United States Championship. Now, before going into this pre-show, we had no idea who was going to be a part of this. So when I made my prediction, I just threw out a name and went with it. And by God, I was right. There were 16 men. We had BRODUS Clay, PRIMO, EPICO, Justin Gabriel, TENSAI, Tyson Kidd, Michael McGillicuddy, ZACK RYDER, Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, JINDER MAHAL, JTG, Drew McIntyre, Ted DiBiase made his return, HEATH, SLATER, and Santino Marella. All 16 of these men trying to be the number one contender, and ZACK RYDER, he was the sole survivor in this battle royal, and he became the number one contender. I was really stoked when that happened. You know, it was a really short battle royal, only 6 minutes long, but it wasn't too bad. So Michael Cole opens the pay-per-view talking about Jerry the King Lawler's health, basically stating that there's great news. The King will be able to return home to Memphis, Tennessee sometime this week. And then Justin Roberts announced his replacement for the pay-per-view, and none other than JBL came out to do commentary with Michael Cole. It was awesome. I knew the pay-per-view was going to be good as soon as that happened, and it was so good to hear JBL do some commentating because it brought back a lot of old great memories with him and his commentary. But the pay-per-view started with the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental title. A great match, a great way to start the pay-per-view. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You had The Miz defending the championship against Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, and Sin Cara. And I gotta say, it was really cool to see Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio actually hook it up in the ring for the first time. I can definitely see these guys having a match in the near future. Maybe at WrestleMania 29. I think that would be really cool. But this was a good match. A lot of near falls. It was back and forth. There was an awesome spot. You had the superplex powerbomb combo with The Miz, Cody Rhodes, and Mysterio. That was really cool. And then the finish. I really liked the finish. It was basically The Miz hoists Sin Cara in the powerbomb position, and Sin Cara puts the mask on Miz because Sin Cara brought an extra Sin Cara mask to the match. He was trying to put it on Cody Rhodes, but he couldn't. So when Miz puts him up in that powerbomb position, he puts it on The Miz instead. And then all of a sudden, The Miz is kind of blinded by the mask and he can't see, and he hits the skull-crushing finale on Cody Rhodes, and he picks up the win. It was a very good finish, in my opinion. A lot of good storytelling as well with this match. You know, you got the feud with Mysterio, Rhodes, and Sin Cara, and then you mixed in The Miz with all that, and it really made for a good match. I really liked it. Next up, the WWE Tag Team Titles are on the line. Daniel Bryan and Kane going up against Kofi Kingston and R-Truth, and well, you know, I didn't pick Daniel Bryan and Kane to win, but you know what? I kind of figured that they would, and that's exactly what happened. You know, Kane and Daniel Bryan, they worked well as a team in the beginning stages of the match, but then some things happened during the match, and they hugged it out for a moment. That was kind of lame, but then, just like the way they won the number one contendership match last Monday night on Raw against the Primetime Players, you know, they had the same kind of finish. Daniel Bryan pushes Kane off the top rope. Kane does a splash on the Kofi Kingston. He gets the pin. They pick up the win. They win the titles. You know, I kind of figured that would happen. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this out. But right after the finish, Daniel Bryan and Kane start chanting, "I am the tag team champions. I am the tag team champions." They were screaming it over and over and over and over again. And that would play over into another segment later on in the show, but we'll get to that in a moment. For the most part, it was a good little tag team match for what it was. Next, we have the WWE United States title. It's on the line. Antonio Cesaro taking on the winner of the Battle Royal, which happened to be ZACK RYDER, as I predicted. And just like I predicted with this match, Antonio Cesaro picked up the win. Not much to talk about in this match. Cesaro pretty much owned RYDER the whole way. RYDER did get a little bit of offense, and it did become a decent little match, but not enough really to really say much about. But Antonio Cesaro, he is still the United States champion. Okay, next up, Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton. Wow, this was a great little match. I really enjoyed it. I thought these guys really brought it, actually, to the match. It was back and forth the whole way. Tons of near falls. I liked the DDT off the outside barricade that Randy Orton did to Ziggler. I thought that was really cool. The finish, that was really cool as well. Orton kind of throws Ziggler up in the air, and as Ziggler's coming down, he hits him with the RKO. He gets the 1, 2, 3. He picks up the win. And, I figured Randy Orton would win, and I'm glad I went with my gut because that's exactly what happened. The match got a lot of great time as well, 18 minutes. And this was a great match. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend that you check it out. Now, earlier in the night, we saw Caitlyn. She was laid out in the backstage area. Some unknown person, pulled a Nancy Kerrigan on her and hurt her ankle, and she couldn't compete. So Booker T decided to choose Eve as her replacement, and so we saw Layla defending the title against Eve. Now, I predicted that Layla would lose the title against Caitlyn. Well, I got half of that right. Layla did lose the title, but it wasn't to Caitlyn, it was to Eve. So Eve picked up the win. For a Divas match, it was a damn good match. I thought they did a really good job. It got a decent amount of time, about 7 minutes. And like I said, for this being a Divas match, it was really good. They don't put much emphasis on the Divas division, but I got to say it was good to see a decent little match like that. So, back to the Daniel Bryan and Kane shenanigans. They were chanting that I am the tag team champions right after they won the titles. And, we saw a backstage segment where Daniel Bryan was walking down the hallway screaming that he is the tag team champions. And then we see Kane doing the same thing. They all meet up in the middle with AJ and that doctor. And they're just basically screaming that they're the tag team champions. And it was kind of funny, actually. Bryan actually congratulates Kane for being a tag team champion because the doctor was backstage with them and he was trying to get them to see the light. And AJ was trying to get them to be friends. Even after winning the tag team championships, they're still hating each other. But Bryan congratulates Kane. And then Kane just walks off. And Daniel Bryan's like, what the fuck? And Kane comes back with a big bucket of Gatorade or water or something like that. And he gives Daniel Bryan a Gatorade bath. That shit was hilarious. I really thought it was funny. And that's all I got to say about that. But next up, we saw the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Alberto Del Rio going after the World Heavyweight Championship against Sheamus. And to me, it made sense for Alberto Del Rio to pick up the win because then they could have another match at the next pay-per-view at Hell in a Cell because, Sheamus would get his rematch. But you know what? It didn't happen like that at all. I was kind of upset with that. Sheamus picked up the win yet again. Of course, before the match, Booker T came out and he declared that the Brogue Kick is reinstated so Sheamus could use that maneuver. And that's exactly how he won the match. He hit ADR in the face with the Bro Kick. He picks up the win. And all I gotta say is, what's the whole point of this feud now? Sheamus continues to win match after match against ADR. ADR continues to get another rematch after rematch after rematch. I would just thought that it would have been better booking and a better storyline to have ADR win the title somehow. And then they could have a blow-off match at the at the next pay-per-view, but apparently that's not what the WWE's thinking. I'm guessing that ADR is going to complain tomorrow night on Raw or maybe on SmackDown about how he wasn't prepared for the bro kick and how he should have another match, and I'm sure that's how it's going to go. But anyways, for what it was a good little match. I enjoyed it. All right, let's get to the match of the night. No question about it. Best match of the night. It was right up there with Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton, but I'm definitely going to put this match over that one because, man, it was just awesome. CM Punk and John Cena for the WWE Championship. Wow, 27 minutes long. Man, what a great amount of time for a match. And I got to say, CM Punk controlled the opening of the match, flawlessly. He did a fantastic job, but eventually the match picked up a whole lot of steam when John Cena started getting some offense in. It was going back and forth. False finishers, man. Punk kicking out of the AA. Cena kicking out of the GTS. Punk not tapping out to the STF. Cena not tapping out to the Anaconda Vice. And even one point in the match, Punk uses the rock bottom, sending the message to Dwayne Johnson. But John Cena kicks out of it. And Punk gets to a point where he's like, what the hell do I have to do to beat this guy? Well, he didn't beat John Cena, but he found a way to hold on to the title. And that's all I cared about. Basically, we get to a superplex where John Cena hits Punk with the superplex off the top rope. And he as soon as he hits it, he gets him in a pinning combination, like a bridge pin attempt. And both of their shoulders were on the mat, and the ref counts the 1, 2, 3, and he declares the match a draw because all 4 shoulders were down, and so that's all it was. It was a straight-up draw. I was happy, it was an interesting finish. It maybe wasn't the great way to finish the match, the greatest, I should say, but all that matters is that Punk is still the champion, and I am stoked about that. And Cena didn't win the title in his hometown, so that's great news in my book. But it's going to be interesting to see what goes down. After the match, Cena obviously wanted the match to continue, and I wouldn't have complained about that either. But they chose not to do that. Punk hits Cena right in the face with the championship title, and pretty much Punk and Paul Heyman leave. That's right, Paul Heyman was down there as well. He had a little bit of a promo before the match started. I kind of thought maybe Paul Heyman would have got involved with the match, but he didn't. That actually made the match a little bit better because there was no interference from anybody. And that was that. I thought the match was awesome. The crowd loved it. I loved it. And the crowd was actually pretty good throughout the whole pay-per-view for the most part. But that's that. I thought the pay-per-view was very good. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you like? What did you dislike? You know who I am. Peace out, everybody.